The Baltimore Ravens have been a team that inspires both hope and frustration in equal measure this season, and watching them navigate their way through the highs and lows has been nothing short of a roller coaster. Coming off a loss to the Steelers, the Ravens now find themselves in a precarious position when it comes to their playoff chances, and the spotlight is firmly on their offensive line, which has been a glaring weakness for much of the year. Early in the season, John Harbaugh hinted that rotations on the offensive line might shift depending on practice performance and player health, but after the first game, it became clear that some decisions were set in stone. The addition of Lake and Tomlinson to the practice squad injected some intrigue, and while their presence brought a hint of optimism, it also underscored how difficult it has been to keep Lamar Jackson upright against increasingly aggressive defenses. The conversation around the Ravens' offensive line has reached a national level, drawing attention from analysts and fans alike. The criticism is sharp and unflinching, pointing to repeated struggles in protection that have left key plays and drives vulnerable. From missed assignments to delayed reactions, the offensive line has repeatedly exposed weaknesses that the Ravens simply cannot afford in critical games. With primetime matchups against the Packers and Patriots looming, the pressure is immense, and the team knows that any further breakdown in protection could have disastrous consequences. For Jackson, the frustration is tangible as he watches opposing quarterbacks, like Aaron Rodgers, remain upright and mobile, orchestrating drives with apparent ease while he endures relentless pressure. The contrast between what the Ravens have struggled to protect Jackson from and what their opponents have achieved has been stark, highlighting a systemic issue that the team has yet to fully resolve. Meanwhile, the AFC North continues to tighten, with every game carrying high stakes for the playoff picture. Losses to the Steelers and the Bengals earlier in the season have already put the Ravens behind in the division standings, leaving them with a steep climb to reclaim a postseason spot. The reality is harsh. The Ravens' path to the playoffs may only extend as far as the division winner, making every remaining game a must-win scenario. The offense has shown flashes of brilliance at times, but inconsistency and slow starts have defined too many games this season. Every dropped pass, every missed block, and every misread on the field has contributed to the sense of urgency surrounding the team. The organization, from coaches to front office, feels the weight of these challenges, and fans are acutely aware that the window for mistakes is closing rapidly. The Bengals, on the other hand, have provided a cautionary tale for Baltimore. Joe Burrow's performance against the Ravens highlighted the stark differences in offensive line performance between teams. Burrow's poise and ability to escape pressure were a reminder that a quarterback's success often hinges on the protection and support of the line in front of him. When given time, elite quarterbacks like Burrow can dissect defenses methodically, exposing weaknesses that the Ravens have struggled to cover. The lessons are clear. Without consistent pass protection, the offense will continue to falter under pressure. Blitzing becomes a delicate calculation as the Ravens attempt to apply pressure without leaving gaps that top-tier quarterbacks can exploit. Every defensive play becomes a gamble, and the margin for error shrinks with each snap. Despite the struggles, individual talent still shines through in moments. Players like Ja'Marr Chase on the opposing side have proven difficult to contain, consistently finding ways to make an impact even when coverage is tight. Within Baltimore, the efforts of defenders like Marlon Humphrey have been commendable, but the reality is that even skilled defenders cannot cover for systemic issues on the offensive line or the inability to generate consistent pass rush pressure. The interplay between offense and defense, protection and coverage, has defined many of the Ravens' games this season. Each missed opportunity compounds, creating a cumulative effect that leaves the team scrambling to recover in the second half of games. Injuries have also added to the complexity, as key players have been sidelined at critical times. The absence of T. Higgins, for instance, has had a ripple effect on offensive strategy, particularly in the red zone. While other receivers have stepped up in moments, the absence of primary targets forces adjustments that sometimes leave the offense less dynamic. Coaches are tasked with juggling personnel and reshaping game plans on the fly, all while trying to maintain cohesion and rhythm in an offense that has struggled to find consistent footing. Every game becomes a test of resilience, and every snap is laden with the potential for both triumph and disappointment. The Ravens' recent losses have also highlighted the importance of turnovers and execution in close games. Against teams like the Bills and Bengals, a single interception or fumble can shift momentum decisively, and the inability to overcome such mistakes underscores limitations in depth and adaptability. Even when the defense steps up, creating opportunities and forcing turnovers, the offense must capitalize or the hard work is wasted. The margin between winning and losing has become razor thin, and the Ravens' ability to execute under pressure is being tested in every facet of the game. Looking at the broader picture, the Ravens' season has been defined by a combination of individual brilliance and systemic shortcomings. The highs, such as moments of elite playmaking and defensive stands, are offset by glaring issues in offensive line play, inconsistent execution, and injuries that have hindered rhythm. The journey through the remaining games will be both a test of resilience and a study in the importance of fundamentals. Pass protection, quarterback decision-making, and defensive execution must align perfectly to salvage a playoff berth and to remain competitive. Within the AFC North, the season has been a mixture of hope, frustration, and anticipation, with each game offering a glimpse of what might be achieved if all elements of the team function in harmony. The interplay of strategy and execution remains at the forefront, particularly with high-stakes matchups looming. The Ravens' ability to generate pressure on elite quarterbacks, manage turnovers, and maintain consistent offensive rhythm will dictate how far they can advance. As each game unfolds, the narrative continues to evolve, revealing both vulnerabilities and strengths that will ultimately define the season's outcome. Fans watch closely, aware that the next few weeks could either salvage a promising season or confirm the frustrations that have accumulated over the past months. The challenge lies in execution, in minimizing errors, and in leveraging talent efficiently across every phase of the game, from quarterback to linemen to secondary defenders. As the Ravens prepare for the next wave of matchups, the challenges they face become even more apparent, particularly when considering the upcoming rematch against the Bengals. The second encounter between these AFC North rivals carries an added layer of intensity. Given the history of close games and the high stakes involved in the division standings, the Bengals, despite a season filled with inconsistency, have proven themselves capable of explosive offensive performances, and the Ravens must be at their absolute best to contain them. Joe Burrow's return to form has been a major factor in Cincinnati's offensive resurgence. His ability to read defenses, find open targets, and make quick adjustments has made him a quarterback who can exploit even minor weaknesses in coverage. For Baltimore, the pressure on their secondary and pass rush is immense. Without consistent quarterback pressure, receivers like Yamar Chase can operate almost at will, finding soft spots in zone coverage or exploiting man-to-man matchups with precision. Every second Burrow spends in the pocket is an opportunity for the Bengals to capitalize, and the Ravens know that a breakdown in communication or alignment could result in a devastating play. The offensive line remains the focal point for Baltimore after months of criticism. Every snap they take carries scrutiny. Players like Ari Jones have been forced into situations where the margin for error is microscopic, and every mistake becomes a talking point in national media. Analysts have highlighted the inability to adjust in real time, with instances of missed assignments and delayed reactions that leave quarterbacks exposed. Lamar Jackson's mobility offers some mitigation, but even the most dynamic quarterback cannot consistently overcome structural deficiencies in protection. With Lake and Tomlinson recently added to the practice squad, there is hope that depth can be improved, but it is uncertain how much impact these additions can have in a short span of time. The coaching staff faces a delicate balancing act, attempting to optimize lineups while maintaining cohesion and rhythm on the field. Every adjustment is scrutinized, and the stakes are higher than ever because each game can determine the difference between a playoff berth and an early offseason. The Ravens' offensive struggles are compounded by the performance of opposing quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers' ability to remain upright and move freely against Baltimore in recent games highlighted just how vulnerable the offensive line can be when on the other side. 0 sacks allowed in a full game demonstrates the importance of pressure as a defensive tool. Elite quarterbacks like Rodgers, Burrow, and Allen can exploit even minimal protection failures, turning a single opening into a large gain or a touchdown. For Baltimore, the lesson is clear. The pass rush must be relentless, disciplined, and strategic. Players like Draymond Jones have been crucial in bringing that pressure, winning key one-on-one matchups and forcing quarterbacks to make uncomfortable decisions. However, blitzing remains a complex decision, especially against elite talents like Burrow, who can quickly adjust to defensive schemes. Too much pressure can backfire. Too little allows for complete offensive control. And finding the balance is both an art and a science. Defensively, Baltimore's secondary is under equal scrutiny. Coverage responsibilities are magnified when the pass rush is inconsistent. Defensive backs must read, react, and anticipate plays while compensating for delayed pressure, often staying in coverage for several seconds longer than ideal. This additional burden increases the likelihood of mistakes, whether in man-to-man matchups or zone schemes, with receivers like Yamar Chase thriving on precise timing and route execution. Any lapse in coverage can lead directly to scoring opportunities. Even secondary veterans like Marlon Humphrey face challenges when pressured to extend coverage time, requiring a blend of technique, anticipation, and instinct to maintain effectiveness. The Ravens' ability to create turnovers becomes critical, as a single interception or forced fumble can swing momentum and provide much-needed relief for an overtaxed defense. On the offensive side, Lamar Jackson's situation remains delicate. Injuries and absences, such as T. Higgins' unavailability, forced the team to adjust route combinations, spacing, and timing. Other receivers, like Yamar, Andre Yoshi, and Mitchell Tinsley, are relied upon to step up in critical moments, but chemistry takes time to develop. The red zone, in particular, becomes a test of execution under pressure. Missed assignments, hesitation, or breakdowns in communication can convert scoring opportunities into field goal attempts or stalled drives. Jackson's dual threat ability provides a safety valve, but only when the line offers sufficient protection to allow him to survey the field or escape pressure. The interplay between Jackson's athleticism and the offensive line's cohesion is a defining feature of the Ravens' offensive identity, and the lack of stability in the trenches threatens to undermine the team's effectiveness. The narrative of turnovers looms large in this part of the season. Baltimore and Cincinnati have both demonstrated that they are not equipped to consistently overcome mistakes. Interceptions, fumbles, and poor decision-making magnify the limitations of each roster, even when the defense performs admirably. The offense must capitalize to translate effort into points. In prior games, the Ravens have struggled to respond after conceding big plays, illustrating the interconnected nature of success and failure in football. Each drive becomes a battle not only against the opposing team, but against the clock, field position, and psychological momentum. Football is a game of inches, and in matchups of this magnitude, one misstep can define the outcome of an entire game. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens, and hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. A hush spread across league circles late last night, the kind of low-pitched murmur that usually precedes something seismic, and then, as if someone had finally lifted the lid off a boiling pot, the whispers erupted. A trade between the Ravens and the Eagles is real, and Sashi Brown is at the center of it. Nothing officially announced, nothing spelled out, yet insiders cling to the belief that a bold move has already been set in motion behind tightly closed doors. The sudden spike in speculation started when front office staffers from both organizations were spotted leaving a meeting that hadn't been on any public schedule. No smiles, no casual chatter, just that unmistakable stiffness of people carrying a secret too heavy to hide. Brown, known for his cold precision and willingness to zig where others zag, is believed to have engineered the surprising exchange, blindsiding even seasoned analysts who thought they had a read on Baltimore's long-term plans. Rumor has it that the Ravens' front office has been quietly preparing for structural adjustments, a phrase that has become cryptic code for personnel shifts that break fan expectations. The Eagles, on the other hand, have been flirting with the idea of adding a missing puzzle piece to re-energize their roster. Some say the two sides have been circling each other for weeks, testing boundaries, measuring leverage, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. What makes this moment so startling is not just that the deal seems confirmed behind the scenes, but that it carries Brown's unmistakable signature. Unexpected, calculated, almost theatrical in timing. People close to the situation describe it as a chess move, one that could ripple through the league before anyone fully grasped its consequences. Details of the exchange remain shrouded, fueling every kind of theory imaginable, from a blockbuster player swap to a multi-layered draft maneuver designed to reshape both franchises. What is clear is that Baltimore would not green-light something of this magnitude unless it aligned with Brown's relentless pursuit of long-term leverage. Philadelphia, equally ambitious, appears just as willing to embrace the shockwaves. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.